GM, we are live. Good morning, everybody. I actually thought I set the stream to start at 8:45, and then I got into the studio and it said, you should be live. And so here we are. Good morning, Best Ball on Call. I know, Ollie Gordon, that press conference ruined my life yesterday when they listed 3 Dolphins running back, none of whom were named Ollie Gordon. Absolutely terrible. Yes. If your friends are not talking about Ollie Gordon, your circle is your net worth. And if they're not talking about Ollie Gordon, maybe it's time to find a new circle. Who Hames, Sup, Fam, Skeletor, GM, thank you so much for coming by. Tyler, thank you so much for stopping by. It is early. Yes, we are going to get your best ball fix. Again, thank you so much for stopping by. If you don't sub to PPR Tyler, I don't know what you're doing, because one of the good ones, grinding out tons of content. Typhel Tower, hilarious show. Your shows with BBG are awesome, and your solo stuff is great too. So thank you. I really means a lot that you came by this morning. Get an eliminator in the morning, Cadillac. I haven't done much eliminator, but if the people want, we can see. I'll try a 20. I'm not even going to try a 30-second eliminator. So I'll hop in this now and see how close we are. If it's like waiting for 11, then I'm just instantly leaving. Yeah, waiting for 10. I don't think we are going to be able to fill that, but it was worth a shot. I'm going to try to hop into a 20-second puppy. Again, ship chasing goes live at 10. So I'm going to try to get in a couple drafts before then and see how we do here. So, if you click NFL, nothing happens. It's just a thing for you to do. So I'm going to hop in this 20-second puppy, waiting for 4. So if anyone wants to hop in, please do. Tyler, keeping the youth in line. Yes. Well, we know that the youth of America are in good hands with Coach Tyler at the helm. So let's see if anyone else wants to get in here, waiting for 2. Hopefully we can fill this one quick. Again, 30 seconds are definitely a little easier with the streaming, but again, with a pretty hard out at 10, I just want to make sure we get in a couple drafts today. Who Hames? This is a 20-second puppy. Yep, 20-second puppy. I hopped in the eliminator to because I just try to do what the people want. Skeletor asked for an eliminator, and it was waiting for 10. So sometime this afternoon, maybe that'll fill, because sometimes those rooms can be tough. But Who Hames, I see you got in here at the 2. Glad you made it in. And I don't think I see anyone else's name. Get off YouTube Shorts and give me 50 push-ups. Me screaming at a freshman. My God, I cannot imagine high school with like YouTube. Back in my day, we played Snake on our Nokia brick phones, and we liked it that way. There was no YouTube in class. I'll stop being really old. I know they were talking. I think it was on Korean's stream that when you get to about our age, you got to wear the backwards hat. And so I'm almost at turn the hat around stage and try to show that you're still one of the young hip ones. But no one would be fooled, folks. So I'm just going to be hatless for most of my streams. I looked a bit ago and it needed 11. Yeah, we are going to have some fun. Who Hames? Let's see what you are. Let's see what you're up to. Let's see if fun means flipping the board or fun means taking a Saquon Barkley. Nico Collins, it was a board flip. All right. So I like that. So Who Hames there in the 2-hole, switching things up a little. But yeah, back to Ollie Gordon. They named, someone asked about Jalen Wright. So it was a Jalen Wright specific question, and so they mentioned A-Chain Wright. But then the third running back they mentioned was Alexander Madison, who I frankly forgot was on the Dolphins or even in the National Football League. And so it seems pretty bearish that Ollie Gordon was not mentioned. I'm just going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. I've been trying generally in the first round just to be pretty even with ADP, unless I'm like specifically trying to flip the board or something, which which I do like to do as well. But when you're in the 6 hole, it's hard to get too. You're welcome. Yeah. See who am spicing it up. I couldn't have asked for a for a better member of chat here to keep the board fresh and interesting. But that also enables me to get Gibbs at 7, because it does feel like the first 6 picks generally are pretty ordained, and then after 7, people tend to get a little more creative, pulling up CMC or Gene T or whichever is their wide receiver du jour. So I don't think it'll impact it too much unless I get some kind of crazy faller and make some kind of cool combo with Gibbs. But let's see what's coming around. By ADP, it is London, A-Chain, London, Brown, A-Chain, and Ladd. I don't know if I really want to start robust RB in this draft, so I'll probably take one of these wide receivers. I'm probably just going to take a Ladd here. I don't have any problem going double running back, but yeah, I feel like, this year I've made a concerted effort not to just be a zero RB bro, to the point where I think I have a lot of teams with robust RB, and I don't know if I want that either. So I'm just trying to build with different structures and keep things even out, hoping for round 4 Hampton with Nico. So I have to decide, is 42 too early for me to take Hampton and ruin Huhame's day? We're gonna find out, because now I have Ladd. So Omari and Hampton becomes tempting at that point. But no, do not worry. I will not spitefully take your players. JT Best Ball, GM. JT Best Ball has also begun his streaming journey, and so if you don't sub to JT, you should, because we are out here in the streets, and so trying to support the fellow grinders out there. Huhames takes Bucky Irving. Always feels good to get him there in the second round. I quite like Bucky. Let's see if J Puppy takes Higgins, Brown, or neither. I won't be mad, just making sure it stays unique. Yeah, that's the risk in the board flip, is that you don't end up unique. You get a guy you could have gotten over here, and so you just kind of almost forfeit a first round pick, which isn't great. So it can be tough to pull off the board flip, but I think you're on the right track. It's if you get Nico and Bucky, it's because you pulled Bucky up into 16, 17 through 14 through 17, I suppose you would say, somewhere in this range. And Rashee Rice at 26. Yeah, he has been streaming up. I mean, the days of 4th round Rashee Rice appear to simply be over. And so Jamar Chase did take T. Higgins. Let's see. It'll be interesting if he tries to pull or push Joe Burrow or not. So I think for me, another choice, I think I prefer Chase Brown to JSN. I think I kind of in the middle of the board. I think I can catch up at receiver if I have to. I really like Chase Brown this year. I think they have a fairly favorable late playoff schedule. So I'll add him to the room, starting with Gibbs, Brown, and Ladd. Remember, I just said I tried to not. I end up with too many robust RB starts, and here we are with 2 running backs through 3 rounds. So I'm kind of doing it again, but I do really like really like Chase Brown's upside, and I'm always happy to get him before Kyron. I'm not huge on Kyron. I'm surprised to see him go at 27. I don't feel like you see that too often. That's pretty early, especially it seems like the drumbeat is already starting to build a little more about a committee. Now, McVay always says he wants to rest Kyron, and then he just simply can't help himself. But that could be because there's been a lack of really reasonable secondary options. I don't know if they got everything they were hoping to out of Corum. They took Jarquez Hunter. So let's see if what the Rams do this year. But regardless, I'm not huge on taking him there. And of course, the triple running back start is always risky. But if you can pull it off, you could really put up a ton of points through the RP position. Coming back to us. Yikes. All right. Lamar is an interesting faller, pretty aggressive. Travis Hunter probably structurally makes the most sense, but I'm going to try to take Lamar. I'm going to shoot for the moon here and hope that I can end up with some good receiver value. 55. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a faller on Flowers. His ADP I think is like 47, but he does slip. He's one of those quote unquote elite receivers that has a tendency to slip. Yeah, so his ADP is at 49, so it's not completely crazy to think he could come back to 59, to 55, but we're not going to count on that. Let's see what is coming around. Part of my screen is blocking part of the draft board, so it's so I keep not seeing who Hames does without like craning my head around. But let's see who Hames takes here. Winding the clock, takes Omarion Hampton, so he gets this guy. So he's got his Nico, Bucky, Rashi Rice, and Omarion Hampton build that so hope for who Hames. I hope this is this turns out to how you wanted it. Jay Puppy takes no chances, takes Joe Burrow, and gets his guy along with RJ Harvey. And then Jaden Daniels at 50 to Who Hames. So Who Hames also takes an elite quarterback there. I like getting him at 50, especially compared to Allen at 49. I don't think the gulf between the two should be as big. And arguably, I think Jaden Daniels could well be in line for a bigger season than Josh Allen is. All right. So for me, Jalen Waddle probably will be the pick. I don't really want to push wide receiver any further. Hopefully Topaz isn't too big of a wide receiver hog. I would love to take Kittle. In my heart, I'd like to do that, but I don't think it makes sense for me to push another receiver to the next round, because then we're really going to start getting thin. Steve Shope from the Fanspeak Network. Steve, these are your rankings. So I'm glad you're here, so that if I have any issue, I can talk directly to the man responsible. But yes, Steve's over on the Fanspeak Network. They have a great new product that they launched over on their Substack. You get ranks from Steve, you get ranks from Meg. Awesome. My understanding is they're putting out different ranks for the different contests. Steve, I'm sorry, I can't remember if it's Eliminator or if that's the next one you have coming out. But anyway, great stuff they're doing over on Fanspeak. Yes, Steve, this is and so you can see me actually sort by ADP and completely ignore your rankings, because I hang out a lot in the Matic Discord, so it's sort of our brand over there to get advice and then ignore it. That's kind of like the general MO for us. So let's see if I go by ranks. See, now I feel like I have to like sort by the ranks because Steve is in here. I do agree. I think it's Juwan Jennings, and I think that also lines up by ADP. So I'm going to take Jennings here. I'm not really too worried about the week 12 buys. I'm not much of a bye week bro. If that's what kills me, it's not worth to me having like slipped from Waddle to Addison there. I'll pull back up the draft board. We can see what's coming around. Sam Laporta, I like him. Lions, pretty favorable playoff schedule, and I like getting pieces of that offense. Yes, should have the Eliminator up today or tomorrow. Awesome. Who Hames says, "What's up, Steve?" Yeah. I'm going to report Steve. Who Hames, he took Nico at pick 2. I think Who Hames was trying to get this draft thrown out. I'm very upset. No, Steve, but Who Hames flipping the board here. Yeah, I would have liked if Flowers came around. That would have been the ideal world. I'm still basing decisions on how ADP goes. My rank show, whether it's a reach or value, by how much. Awesome, Steve. Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because a lot of the times if I see people like complaining about ranks, it's because they kind of just go off of ranks. And if you do that, you'll literally end up with the same team every time, which is bad. And also you'll like ignore structure. So I think that's something like no rank can, account for that ahead of time. But it is a tool I like, and I especially like the ranks in the later rounds. When I use different people's ranks, that's where it helps me the most, is like seeing the different rookies players are in on, the late receivers and running backs, and making some decisions there. So I'm not always clicking the same person, especially now that I can't click Ollie Gordon every time because apparently the Dolphins coaching staff is not aware he's on the team. Crossface, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Who Hames added Debo and Steph Diggs to the team. Nice that you got Debo with Daniel. Sometimes Debo, I think you got him a little after ADP maybe, but that's nice to be able to build that stack there. Coming up for us, would I take Pearsall to do a little bit of a Niners double stack? I am denied that choice. Question is, do I go Golden at receiver or do I take Caleb? I think I'm running out of time. I'm not going to be able to get it. All right, I'm picking at 90. I think the whatever, we have auto picked. We have taken Matthew Golden, which I'm fine with. I think the running backs at 90, there's still some options I'm happy with where the receivers can get a little sketchy there. If I'm really in on Burden. I wish I knew a little more about this soft tissue injury. Now, obviously, he's going to be fine for the regular season, but sometimes these like muscle injuries can linger. They can, when you're trying to get a rookie up to speed, it's not great for them to miss too much of the early stuff. So it does concern me a little bit because these things can have kind of knock-on effects. And so, hearing he's not out there, I think I'm at like 20. I'm somewhere between 21 and 25% Burden. So not really thrilled to hear that he hasn't been out there in practice. I don't know if he got hurt in practice or what, but anyway, he's dealing with something which I do not love to see. Exactly. Each draft is different. You shouldn't draft based on ranks every single time. Yeah. And I think that's something that like is easy to do, especially when you're new to best ball, is just assume that like someone who's made ranks, that's not how I want to phrase this. It's easy to just defer to the ranks because like it gives you some level of comfort. I know Steve knows more than me. I realized as soon as I started saying that, I was going to say something ridiculous, like don't assume the person who makes the ranks knows more than you. When in this case, I actually know that for a fact. But don't just lean on the ranks because otherwise you'll end up, you'll end up not building good structures. I'm just going to windmill Cam Scatabo because he is pretty much one of my favorite players this draft. What's up with Ollie? So there was a press conference where they asked, it was a Jalen Wright question, and they listed the running backs on the Dolphins, and they did not even mention Ollie Gordon, which I did not like to hear. It's a little bit of overreaction in a thumbnail, honestly. You never know. But I would have liked to have at least heard his names. Who Hames, are you being held hostage? Are you trying to send the community a message? Let's see if he is. Does his team spell anything? NCBIRR. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of anagram Who Hames is trying to spell out with the letters of his players. After the draft, I'll do some investigation, make sure we don't have to send anybody. But he does take Jaden Higgins and Jonnu Smith, so he's keeps building that out. I like the Higgins pick because this is about where Stroud goes, so that opens a little backdoor to Stroud, and not even when you have Nico there. So also taking Higgins removes the temptation for someone to go Higgins Stroud here. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say playing defense because you're building a stack, which is a very, more offensive and aggressive thing to do, but it does help, sort of prevent that sort of thing from happening. I would have taken Trey Harris there and then potentially, added, I would have taken Trey Harris there. And sorry, I'm thinking, which is a using a lot of brain power here. I'm just going to take Mark Andrews on this team. So we've got Lamar, Gibbs, Brown, Chase Brown, Cam Scatterbo at running back, Ladd, Waddle, Jennings, Golden at receiver, and then Mark Andrews at tight end. All right, let's see. I like using ETR ranks to predict where the market might go. They're so cheap. And I feel like if they're high or low on someone, ADP tends to move. Yes, ETR absolutely moves the market, and they are worth following or subbing to just so that you can not only just using them but seeing where people are going to go, because they are pretty much the big market moving force. Steve got Jaden at 50, can't pass up Debo at 40. When I was gifting Jaden, that makes sense. I think they're referencing him not being included in the McDaniels presser. Hyped up on Wright, though. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm not hyped up on Wright. But use a different color and ranks as a tool, still pick off what I think. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got to pick half the fun in this is picking your own guys. Yes, I was worried too, Steve. I'm glad Hames is okay. All right. McDaniels there fighting for his job at the Dolphins draft. Wright and Washington, they are his pet projects. Maybe. I think Westbrook-Ikhine is actually a decent player, so I am definitely more interested in him than Washington at this point. But again, that's another one where I think we're going to learn a lot in training camp. I've got Bateman queued up. I think that just makes the most sense to build to finish this sort of double stack with Lamar, and I also kind of need another receiver. Only having 4 through 9 rounds, at least now I've got another one. And again, I'm not scared of the week 12 bye, but I do need people actually on the field that week. So we'll add Bateman. Kind of looking at QB options. Tua is going to be the obvious later round quarterback. Jordan Love might come around. If we can do like a Lovecraft thing, we could potentially look at that. And then obviously, if we need to do some kind of kooky tight end back stack, there's a few options there. He needs them to play well to legit. And I don't know. I mean, Washington was like a 5th round pick. Wright is a little different because they traded up to get him. So maybe they do need to show that. He just looked so awful. Hames is out on Debo. That's it. Okay. I forget that he was out on Debo. I was kind of out on Debo during the big board, but I've come around to him being a better pick than I was giving credit for. If he's over, it's hard to know how much to blame on the pneumonia versus the just kind of getting old and losing a step. And he was getting that like that rushing work in San Francisco, but he like didn't want to do it anymore. So yeah, we'll see. I don't mind the oh, there goes Herbert, and this went to the Trey Harris guy, so that's unfortunate because, again, unlike Hames, who everything just goes well for, he gets his rookie, he gets his rookie to go with Stroud, and I don't. You hate to see it, you really do. All right, I'm going to take Jack Betch because I think he makes more sense than some of these things. I could take Jordan Love potentially, but I think again, I kind of want to add one more receiver who's not a complete dart throw, and it also opens the real break class in case of emergency of Geno, a Geno backstack, and he's a guy I do like taking late. So if I can get an excuse for that, I will. Let's see who Hames takes. Tootin and Warren, so he pushes Stroud. Interesting there because I don't think Stroud went. So let's see if you can get Stroud at 143. Hopefully that works out. I guess you got to worry about the Joe Mixon drafter making some excuses, or somebody who just sees the value on him. Hopefully you can get him. Jordan Love could be an interesting pick for me. I think Kraft's already gone, so it's not like I could do a Lovecraft thing. Let's see, where does Tua goes at, let me pull him up. I know it's the 150s. Tua goes at 154. I pick next at 151. So the question is are any of these tight ends or running backs worth the risk of passing? I don't mind Kincaid. I might feel No, I think Jordan Love just went. Jordan Love just went. So I'm gonna take Goddard and be a slight bye week bro, just not wanting Andrews and Kincaid. I also, if my team's in the playoffs and I need someone to make a catch and my tight end room is Andrews and Kincaid, that's gonna feel pretty bad. So I do want to I don't want those two in the same tight end room. So we'll pass on that. I didn't even realize love, but yeah, this guy did the Lovecraft thing, and you see this a lot. This is one of those like stacks you can make. Does he also have Reed? So yeah, he already had Reed, so that makes a ton of sense for this guy to have taken Kraft there. Huhames does get Stroud, because again, things just work out for Huhames. All right, yeah, he's out. I'm Debo. Team NWI all day. You know the drill. Yeah, no, I know. We need a 6-foot receiver because the Dolphins, they had one of those like height things like at the county fair, except it was like you must be under this height to be a receiver on the Miami Dolphins. Goff was falling last night too. Dude, yesterday was weird. Like even after they didn't ban the tush push, even after they didn't ban the tush push, Hurts was falling in drafts. We're at a weird spot, and I don't know if people are just antsy, like looking for stuff to do. But oh my god, and that guy takes Tua. Okay, we are getting to the break glass in case of emergency stacks. I'm gonna take Bigsby here to add to the running back room. I've come around to him. Buck and Davis made that video, and Bigsby at 150 is I think clickable. Even if I think Tootin is probably going to win the job, I think if anyone's the odd man out, it's Etienne. So I'll take some Bigsby there. So now Geno is becoming a priority on this team. This could even end up being some kind of 3-quarterback team if I want to add like an A-Rich and swing for some upside there, but stay tuned. We will see. I think, when I take a Lamar, I generally would prefer it to be a 2 QB team, but to be honest, folks, I may not end up with a choice here. I'm going to put Geno in the queue and hope this guy does not take my quarterback. Let's see what happens. Winding the clock down is Jay Carlso to take Hunter Henry. Okay, well, I mean, that is the kind of pick you might need the entire clock for, deciding between Henry, Ertz, and Firemouth. I think that's one of those where you can go to random.org and pick, because they're at that range. If you're not building a stack, I think they make sense to kind of sprinkle in, unless you have some kind of huge stand. Let's check up on Huhames. Huhames added Ray Davis to his team. So not bad. Let's see. He's almost coming up. So this way, if I want to take a late QB, I potentially can, but I don't feel like I'm as forced to. Adam Thielen, your chaperone's chaperone, added to the team. People just hate the Eagles. I feel like that's true because we punished Dallas Goedert because we thought he was getting traded, and then he wasn't getting traded, and we're still punishing him. Yesterday was weird indeed. Got that naked Hurts follower yesterday in BBM. Yeah, Skeletor, and that was after the news, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm a little perplexed as to what's going on there. Huhames adds Firemouth. I like that pick. Again, I think Firemouth is a quiet beneficiary of the Pickens departure, but his ADP hasn't really reflected any great change in circumstance that I might have expected to see a little. Let's see. Oops. If I sort by the Steve ranks, Gesicki comes up. I actually like that. And Alec Pierce. So Pierce would have been I'm just going to take Gesicki here and end my tight end room with another small bet on the Bengals here. So QB room of Lamar and Geno, running backs of Gibbs, Brown, Scatabo, and Bigsby, wide receivers of Ladd, Waddle, Juwan Jennings, Matthew Golden, Rashad Bateman, and Jack Betch, with a tight end room of Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert, and Mike Gesicki. Went 3 tight ends there because I think I've resigned myself to this just being a 2 QB team. Didn't want to do anything crazy like a very late Slayton Dart kind of stack. I don't know on this team if that's truly going to add anything. I think I'm going to probably make this a 6 running back, 7 receiver team, but we'll kind of see what comes around in the room here. So by the Steve rankings, we've got Keenan Allen, Coker, Darnold, Slayton, Dobbins. Keenan might be a target for me because he is a guy who is likely to rise if and when he signs somewhere. I could capitulate and take Jalen Wright. I don't really have any Jalen Wright because I really didn't think it was going to be him, but maybe it's time I just learned my lesson. Uninspiring rookie season. My God, this is such a terrible moment for me. That's the first Jalen Wright I have drafted pre-draft and post-draft, unless he got autoed to me and I didn't notice. I do not take this guy. I do not think he's good, but I'm gonna take him there. I'm gonna take him there, and it is painful. Hopefully, he is better, but I am not excited. Let's see. Oops, Pat Bryant is getting way too expensive. Yeah, he is expensive, and it's such a crowded receiving room in Denver. But he's getting a little steamy. People have decided that they're in on Pat Bryant. And I mean, it makes sense because people were, using real American dollars to take Devon Vele pre-draft stuff. So if we were taking Vele, we should definitely be taking Bryant. I'm probably wrong. I can't click Pierce with AD sitting there. Pierce, I mean, Pierce had the quietest 800-yard season you'll ever hear. Like, I think if you ask people how many yards they thought he had, most people would say 500 or less. Like, he does one thing well. He's always on the field. And A-Rich, if he does one thing well, it's throw deep balls. So, Pierce is a guy who unironically is better in best ball. Whereas A.D. Mitchell, we love the talent. It's just a question if he can, get on the field. Tyler Emo Cowboy, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. Pat Bryant is the man, but he is steamed a bit. Yes, he is very steamed. I kind of agree. In July, he might close the gap on Mims. Yeah, Mims, again, if you want to start an argument with Best Ball Bros, Marvin Mims is fertile ground because you can make that data look a lot of different ways depending on what you want it to say. So let's see by rank. Let's see the Steve ranks. Holly Gordon. I know. I think this is going to be, who do we got? I think I'm going to take Emmanuel Wilson on this team. I'm trying to vary my my late round running back clicks. I'm going to add him. I think there's a chance he just is the backup running back in Green Bay, which we like, and we have Matthew Golden, so we've got a little bit of a Packers thing going. And then I have one more wide receiver click that nobody is going to like, but we're going to make it. It's insane when you think about it. That a few years ago from Best Ball, we have streams from morning to late evening every day available. Well, I know, Tyler, you've been beating the saturation drum, but this is where we're at, and I do think Best Ball is growing. Like I think it is such a fun format, and I honestly think a lot of home leagues, as you and your friends get older, I'm not the plural you, like Best Ball is a great format because a lot of people, what happens is by week 9, you have people that just don't care anymore. People can't be checking waivers all the time, but Best Ball, I do think would be a fun format to do with your friends. And so I think there's a chance that this format really takes off. Was trying to make it happen. Email. All right. So we are going to take a guy that nobody takes. We're going to take Dante Thornton. This is your definition of a guy who might be a 0, but we're going to take him anyway. We're going to take the risk. Later, I think they took him in the 5th round, 6'2" speedster. Again, good chance it's a 0, but this puppy being kind of time boxed more than BBM, if I don't take him now and he ends up being the wide receiver 3 or more of a rotational piece that does have a deep threat, he'll be very low owned in this contest, where if that comes out in BBM, enough of that contest is unfilled to where he will not be as unowned. So I like him more here in the puppy, but he is not for the faint of heart because he absolutely could be a 0. So looking at the team, we've got Lamar and Geno at QB, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Cam Scatterbo, Tank Bigsby, Jalen Wright, and Emmanuel Wilson at running back, Ladd, Jalen Waddle, Juwan Jennings, Matthew Golden, Rashad Bateman, and then Jack Betch and Dante Thornton as my emergency back stack for Geno, and Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert, and Mike Gesicki at tight end. Who Hames ends his team with Devin Neal, Andre Yoshivas, and Jalen Tolbert. So I like the teams we have. I am going to fire up another 20-second puppy. That will be the last draft before we get out of here, because ADP chasing comes on at 10. And I think 40 minutes is just enough time to get one of these in. So I'm going to hop in now. If anyone wants to hop in, hopefully this is not snap fill, so some of you can get in. So waiting for 9. If anyone wants to get in, please do. Pretty sure Vele was born in the 80s. Easy PSX. Easy with the 80s slander. 17% Pat Bryan right now. Got a bunch of cheap shares. So just chilling now. Yeah, that is nice. It's nice to get him early. I didn't get enough of him in pre-draft. Ben, GM. Yeah, you're telling Skeletor got a similar price is getting out of hand. It's gotten steamy. It has gotten steamy. Pierce led the NFL in yards per reception, and no one wants him. That's what I'm saying. Like I think he's a good click. We just all don't like it, but he is out there. Like I'm pretty sure he's out there for more than like 90 to 95% of snaps. Like he just doesn't leave the field, and he's a threat to break an 80-yard touchdown or 2 in a game. And we're like, we'd rather have the fun prospect who like can't get on the field. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes we overthink it. Let's rip a puppy. Ben, hope you got in this one. Non-derogatory, by the way. It's great for the community. Yeah, I mean, it's been really fun doing this, and people who do this do it because they love best ball, and they want to see this game grow. So many people in my home leagues, boomers, have no idea about best ball. Yeah. And again, like I think for a lot of people, the draft is the most fun part of the season, and that's what we're doing here. Got some Deontay shares. All right. We'll be in the finals there with our Thornton. The boomers can't compete with the overlay bros. Well, I hope they can, because I am one of the boomers and not having an overlay. Pittman had 32 more catches, yet Pierce still beat him for the team for yards with 824 to 808 wild. I did not know that, but that is pretty impressive. I would have thought Pittman would have had that lead. I know he missed some time, but yeah, crazy. I mean, Pierce can just be a game breaker. So much room for growth. Even taking the night shift with my channel seems to be a decent audience with somebody wanting to watch. Yeah. I mean, I think, a lot of people like me like just having it in the background while they're like going about their day. And so that's one of the reasons I'm doing this at this hour, because a lot of people in the morning, starting their day want to either be in a draft or just hang out. So I'm going to take Justin Jefferson at 3. I know I said I normally go by ADP, but I think I checked. I have gotten most of my drafts over on the right side of the board. So I'm very low on Justin Jefferson, and I am like taking him every time he's at the top of the queue. So I'll take Jefferson there at 3. I normally at 3, someone takes either Saquon or Bijan. So I'm just going to tell myself I was destined to get Jefferson, but looks like we got some friends in here. We've got Who Hames next to me at the 4. We've got Ben here at the 6. We've got Steve at the 10. Patrick Barnes, YouTube, who famously was in all of Davis's stream drafts, has appeared. So we've got JT in here, JT at the 9. So this is truly a friends and family draft. I'm excited. We've got a really good crew in here, and so I appreciate everybody everybody coming by. DK guy hopping in here with you. Awesome. Yes, Ben, let us get it. I love Wicks and AD. I'm a separation score bro, I guess. I mean, we're talking about like very late picks in the draft. So the odds are like a lot of these guys are going to be irrelevant, but there are a few guys I don't want to just like fade because I'm like, yeah, they're not that good when they might be worth a roster spot. It's not like Pierce isn't a young second rounder himself. I would like to see maybe the Colts trade Pittman. Pittman's such a weird guy because he's, he was like kind of an original slappy pick where we were taking him in the 30s, and then like 2 or 3 years later, now nobody wants him, but he's still like pretty much 1,000-yard receiver who obviously has like good rapport with the presumed starter, and we're taking him in the hundreds. So he's kind of an odd duck himself. But yeah, maybe a change of scenery would do well. All the sickos in here. Yes. Well, Emo Cowboy's not in here. So so we did dodge that bullet there. Alec Pierce is a good click. We assume AD Mitchell's going to take the next step, draft both. No problem with doing that. And again, that's one of those like bailout stacks you can build if you can take Richardson or Daniel Jones if you think he's the winner, and backstack the Colts without too much trouble. So let's see, coming up for us, we took Jefferson. I don't think Huhames is going to let me have Taylor. He does not. Steve, close your eyes. I'm ignoring the ranks. I'm taking Bucky over Jacobs. I think I just have a preference for Bucky a little bit. Maybe that's bad. I mean, maybe a little bit of divisional correlation would have been good in that one. But I had trouble taking Jacobs last year, and now taking him here, I'm having trouble again. I'm not fully fading him, but it's just not my favorite click there, and that's probably bad. But we'll see. Oh my gosh, he might come back around too. Let's see what happens. Garrett Wilson is like one of my favorite clicks. And I see you have him ranked at 41. So this is tough. This is tough. Let's see what Crossface, you're in here too. He takes Rashi Rice. All right, Steve, I'm going to take Jacobs. I'm going to risk going 2 running backs early in a supremely slappy room, and we'll see if we can land the plane. So let's see what happens. Boomers can have ETR make their picks. Yeah. Now it can do everything but put it in the queue for you. You're off and running. Yeah. All right, good. No 80 slander. I'm in the 9 hole. Made my uniform way before I thought about streaming. It is what it is. Yeah, I know. It's they don't let you change it. So I am here machining parts from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that and keeping the lights on and making stuff. And so that's awesome. I'm glad we're able to help the day go along better here. I am happy with the board flip. Huhames, I liked your team. I actually meant to go over it, but I was afraid if I did not have the 10 a.m. stop, I would have taken a little more time on the last draft. Appreciate you servicing the morning crowd. Well, Skeletor, I appreciate you just being here and hanging out. Patrick Barnes, YouTube was in all of Liam's last year. Yep. No, he was also like in the, I think he was in the basketball dog bowl. So I think, Patrick Barnes YouTube is more than just someone who pops into the stream drafts. I think he's pretty sharp, which is kind of the worst combination. Like I would rather Patrick Barnes YouTube be a giant fish, but unfortunately I think he knows what he's doing. Pittman is the only bigger body the Colts have. Yeah, we all want Josh Downs to be like a giant person, and he's pretty small for a receiver. I feel like Downs can do what Pittman does, and Pierce and Mitchell can be their big play guys. Yeah, it's possible. They're definitely one heavy on receiver. I think if they could count on AD Mitchell, they probably would have looked to have moved one of those guys already. But I don't know if they think they can rely on him yet. I agree, and Warren can fill out the other part. Pittman covers. We can create Pittman in the aggregate. We're just going to moneyball the Colts on this stream here. I love it. Do it. Take Jacobs. I did, Steve. I did. And I'm just reading that now. GM Hartman Fantasy Football. Thank you for coming by. JT hiding in the 9 hole. I missed him there. Now he's He's hanging out. Ben, don't worry, I'm a fish. No, I'm not buying it. All right, so caught up on chat. So let's see. Hames with Bijan, Taylor, and Wilson. So he goes 2 RBs and 1 receiver. Ben going triple receiver with Neighbors, Tyreek, Harrison, and adding Breece Hall. JT going pure piss boy, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, and JMO. I love JMO. Again, I could see him being a big riser. 40 is aggressive, but you weren't getting him at 57. So I see that. Oh my God, there is no orange on my screen. I'm not a huge Cortland Sutton guy, but I do feel like I kind of need to take him there. Not my most comfortable click, but I do not want to get completely buried. I feel like we haven't had too many avalanches this year, but I could see the Saint Bernard coming with the cognac around his neck, and that cognac was filled with Cortland Sutton. And like cognac, it tastes kind of disgusting, but it will keep you warm in the winter when you have been buried by an avalanche. So let's see what we can do here. Hurts would be the pick at ADP. I know some of the ranks are a little more aggressive on the quarterbacks, which does make sense. Zay Flowers would have been a little bit of a falling value there. Have the potential. I don't do this often. I don't take a ton of RJ Harvey, but now that I've taken Sutton, maybe we're going to build a little bit of a bet on the Broncos. Also keep me from taking my 7,000th% of Calvin Ridley. I take a ton of him there. So a little risky again, going with 3 running backs here, 2 receivers, but we'll see if we can land the plane. And if not, we will at least have a fun draft. Finishing up, Steve-O starting with Gene T. Henry. So going with a robust RB start, and then 2 exciting rookies with McMillan and Travis Hunter. I like that. Hames has since added Jalen Hurts. Ben has added Joe Mixon. And JT is on the clock. Crossface, I like the Kittle pick. He's a guy I'm never upset with if I get there. And JT adds Chuba Hubbard. So, interesting room so far. I feel like there's a lot of different constructions. We've got, 4 wide receivers, 1 running back. We've got, Steve-O, Hames, and I going two early running backs. Hames and Steve-O going 2 running backs through 2 rounds. Ben going a little more traditional, 3 receivers, 2 backs. So Steve-O taking Waddle. Waddle's one of my favorite clicks in the 5th round. So I like that. And let's see, Al Boogie, GM. Thank you for coming by. I had such a fun draft, fun time drafting with you yesterday. Glad to have you back here. I had Brown, so I figured why not? You had AJ Brown. Oh, so JT, I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to when you had Brown. Front half, you can really get punished at wide receiver on the 4-5 turn. Yeah, it can get pretty sketchy, especially now that we're seeing at 46, I could reliably get JMO, and in this draft I couldn't. So it got pretty thin pretty quick. I think he meant ARS. Okay, yes, I'm on Ross A. Brown. Sorry, I thought you also have AJ Brown. So I am easily confused. Steve-O taking Chris Godwin. I like that. If Chris Godwin is healthy, then 63 is going to seem like a pretty big value. I also like Chris Godwin as the kind of pick when you start 2 running backs and you're trying to catch up, swinging for the fences with a guy like Godwin who's being punished for potential health concerns, sort of that Godwin, Olave, Ayuk kind of guy who can, who could really end up being undervalued for who they are. They make sense to take when you took early receiver detours because they could really, if they're good, they can really catch you up quickly. So Steve-O takes Godwin, JT takes Travion, Ben takes Jerry Jeudy, and Hames on the clock. I'm gonna have to close the board to see what I can do. Joe Burrow is going to make it around, possibly, because I am not going to take Burrow on this team. Let's see, this is pretty tough. Hames in a similar boat, deciding what he wants to do. He takes Judkins. I guess I'm going to take Myers. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to put my hands in my life in the hands of Steve, and I'm going to go by ranks, and I'm going to take Steph Diggs here. I actually feel like that does make a little more sense as my third receiver, being the number one receiver in New England, betting on that offense versus someone I know is not the number one with the Raiders. And he might come back around, but I think there maybe is a little more of an upside swing on Diggs than in Myers. And there are a few other wide receivers I like coming around. I'm fine with Pearsall, Myers, Golden. Those are all acceptable. And I am actually tempted to take Sam Laporta here. I'm going to take Sam Laporta. I think I'm really in on him there, and this gives me that Week 17 correlation with the Vikings and the Lions. So I'll give that a go. Again, it's a little risky passing on a receiver, but I've already filled my flex with a running back in the ideal world. So I do think Laporta is more of an elite receiver than maybe a lot of people do, and so I don't mind. We're going to take a little bit of a shot there. We are going to take a shot there. Amon-Ra, so reach for JMO. Yeah, no issue there. I hope Hawk gets the double. He did. So Hawk, I have long said that if you're ever going to get Burrow pushed to you back to 1, it's going to happen in a stream room where nobody wants to be the guy on stream sniping Burrow. It's kind of just like one of those things you do in the shadows when no one is looking. So Hawkberg here is proving that theory correct. I love seeing Burrow fall. Yeah. It'd be nice if that's where it normally went. I don't like taking Chase and Higgins because then you feel like if you don't get the stack, it just doesn't feel great. And then I also don't want to take him at the 4 or 5 when I do that because people do get him at the 6. And Hampton and Flowers, these are darn good players. So you're getting one of them instead of someone in this like Diggs, Pearsall, Connor range. And, again, I think people do forget, like if you get sniped or something like that, it's not like you don't get a player, like you just get a different player. And so that said, there is a good chance that the players you get in this range are just going to be better than the people who just took Burrow at the 4-5 turn to lock up the stack. People do forget. Yes, this is fine. Yes, we don't need to talk about it. I just don't think Burrow's a good pick in the 5th or 6th without Chase or Higgins. So my view on that is I don't want 2 players. I don't want to have 100% like I'm trying to phrase this right. I don't want to have 2 players together where if I have one player, I always have the other player. Like I don't only want to have Joe Burrow if I have one of Higgins or Chase. Because I feel like if something happens to one of them, then all my teams with the other player are going to die. So I don't want, I don't want all of my Chase teams to have Burrow. I don't want all of my Higgins teams to have Burrow, if I'm making sense. Sorry, I am picking here. Oh man, my heart says Scatterbo. I'm gonna take Igbuka here. I already have Bucky, so we're gonna build out a little bit of a bet on Tampa. The burden soft tissue stuff. I don't know if this is what the blurb is out with soft tissue injury. No timetable for return, exact nature yet to be disclosed. So, again, it's just one of those things where if it lingers on, that could be actually kind of bad. So I'm backing off of him for now, probably just for the next few days until we know a little more about it. I'm not like going to fade him all summer, but I don't want to be ignoring something that could potentially be a little bit of an issue. So big question here, if Bo Nix comes to me, do I take one of these receivers or do I take Nix? I think Nix just makes sense. I've got Harvey, I've got Sutton. I really like Harrison Pittman, but I don't think Nix is going to come back to me. And I have made this bet on the Broncos. So I'll lock up Nix here. In the fifth, never like him. Oh, yes, you said that DK needs a 20-second clock. It's nice. Yeah, 30-second feels very long when you're used to the 20s, especially because DK changed it. They used to put you on auto if you missed 2 picks. Now I think you have to miss like 6 or 8 picks, which is, I think it's 6, but it's like basically a third of the draft. So it's a long time before they put you on auto now, which I really hope they put back because that makes it pretty Burrow. Do you think Burrow's ADP settles to closer to 6-7 by the end of summer? I don't know. I mean, maybe a few spots here and there. I think it's still going to be pretty rare that you get him at 6-7. I think the only people that like really want it are the Higgins. Nobody wants to see it happen. Like I feel like if you have a lot of like 5 where you took him at the 4-5, you don't want to see people later in the tournament regularly getting them at 5-7. Like those are the people who are going to be like holding the line. So let's catch up on what some people have taken. We've got Crossface has Lamb, McLaurin, Rashi Rice, and then Daniels, Kittle, Connor, Pearsall, Scatabo, and Mason. Who Hames, once he started with Bijan and JT, went Garrett Wilson, Devontae, Jalen Hurts. So he got his nice Devontae Hurts stack. Judkins, Jacoby Myers, Jaden Higgins, and Fields. So he gets the Garrett Wilson Field stack. So once again, everything just works out for Who Hames. Let's see what Ben does. Ben gets Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, and MHJ. Follows it up with Breece Hall and Mixon. And then back to Judy, Jaden Reed, Kyler, and Pittman. So he gets his Kyler, MHJ stack. JT, after opening with 4 receivers of Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, and J-Mo, then adds Chuba, Travion Henderson, Hawkinson, Bijan, and Andrew. So he gets a couple of good tight ends, locks that position up. Steve-O goes Gene T. Henry, and then Tet McMillan, Travis Hunter, Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin, and then follows that up with another batch of rookies with Caleb and Trey Harris, and gets Baker and Evan Ingram at tight end because Steve-O said, Chad, you simply cannot get Evan Ingram with your glorious Broncos stack. I am taking him there. And no, I don't blame you. I actually like Evan Ingram a lot, and that would have been a bit of a fall on Ingram. So let's see what's coming around to us. 1, 3, 4, 1 so far. So I could take most positions other than probably quarterback. I just want to read this blurb. What does it say about Sharps? Additional competition in Seattle. Yeah, well, we knew that because they took our king, Damian Martinez, there. So I'm going to ignore the FUD. And, no, I'm going to take Sharps if I can click fast enough. I'm going to take Sharps mostly because I'm at like 25% Tootin. And so I do want to vary it a bit. I don't want to end up with like no Charbonnet because I feel like they are similar bets. Betch would have been a potential pick there, being that he's kind of the end of the line for these receivers. A clump of unstacked quarterbacks coming around. I'm going to take Hollywood Brown here. And part of this is maybe a little bit of a late bring back on the my Denver week 17. So now at least I have something going on in that game. And I could have taken maybe Drake May to stack with Diggs. I think that would have made sense. But again, the wide receiver really goes off a cliff here. Like the next ADP at receiver is 148, and we're here at pick 125. So there's literally like almost 2-round golf in between receivers. So that's kind of the like very last call for receivers before you're taking guys you're a lot less enamored with. Hollywood Brown is a bit of a tough click for me. He's, again, it's hard to know because it seemed like they really did want to get him involved last season, but then he got hurt. So hopefully he still has something of a role there. But again, with Rice coming back healthy and Worthy stepping up, how much will there be? I guess we'll find out. But I think he'll at least be on the field on an offense we hope is better I believe Burrow will be falling. The line shall not hold. We'll see. We'll see, Ben. If it doesn't, then I will happily take him because I try to push him every time. So I think I have almost no Burrow. Double week 9 QB. Drake May was a stack for you. Let me see. Have I made an error? Have I made an error? Or did you say that you did that? Who Hames? Well, you just get a third QB. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You got two good quarterbacks. Yeah, Drake May would have been a potential pick for sure. But again, I think there's a chance that Hollywood Brown is somewhat surprising in how much he's out there versus like what the market thinks. Overweight on Tootin. Chad, just like me for real. I have a lot of Tootin. So again, I don't want to click Tootin over Charbonnet every single time because there is rumblings of someone getting moved out of Seattle, and whether that's, if it's not Charbonnet, then Charbonnet's role is going to go up. If it is Charbonnet, then maybe he lands somewhere where he's playing a lot more. And at worst case, I just have a good contingent upside in Seattle. Not for you. I said it after I typed. Gotcha. Yeah, let's see what comes around. So Steve-O adding Herbert and White. So he gets the Herbert, Trey Harris stack. That makes sense, along with Rashad White. JT taking Goff and Benson. So he locks up his Denver stack. Ben taking Njoku. I like that click. I don't really know why he's moved from like around pick 100 to pick 126 in this contest. He gets Stroud, who I believe is unstacked on this team. All right, so we are up. Let's see. This is a really grim range, huh? I guess I'm gonna take Ray Davis. I hate that click even before the pick was made. I don't really have a ton of backstacking QB options because our friend McCarthy's already gone. This is pretty unideal, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you all. I mean, I could just All right, I'm gonna take Bigsby and then be done at running back. I know this seems pretty horrible having 6 running backs at this point, but I don't think any of those receivers were going to help. I mean, maybe McMillan to continue my Tampa bet, but I kind of want to leave receiver slots open because I'm going to have to backstack this thing with with either tight end or wide receiver, and we'll see what happens. This is pretty tough. Good chance I end up with just 2 tight ends, having gone Laporta and needing to figure out what I'm going to do at quarterback past Nix. But this one kind of got away from me. Kind of got away from me a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Stroud backstack plans in the works, wanted love, but the badgeless dude took him naked. Yes, we can blame the badgeless for all of our woes. It's like the badgeless person took a naked QB, so I'm going to take a naked QB. It's like, don't let them bring you down, man. Don't let them bring you down. Doing Buck proud with Bigsby. I know Bigsby got in my head. Go Knoll and Nixon with Stroud. No, that makes sense. I mean, I don't hate that. And if you have a Mixon, then it's not like completely naked. If Palmer went, you lost Knoll. Yeah, probably. So you were able to get your guy there, so that did work out. Let's see, Steve-O adding Bryce Young, Adam Thielen. That was a potential backstack I considered with taking Young, and then you can do Thielen, Coker, Leggett, or Jatavion Sanders goes late, or even I think it's Horn was he a UDFA? I can't remember. They either took him very late or he was a UDFA. I think he actually was drafted. Anywho, there's a few options you can backstack with Bryce Young, but let's see what is coming up to us. Cam Ward, Matt Stafford. I think it's just going to be Cam Ward for me, with apologies if somebody was looking to stack their Ridley or something with him. I need a quarterback. I can tell myself that Ward has a little bit of rushing upside, And there's a couple late receivers I don't mind stacking. I don't mind stacking with him. I should have taken Pat Bryant. That was my fault. As soon as I clicked Ward, I said I should have taken Pat Bryant because I have Bo Nix, and he actually would have made sense. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, folks. But that's the world we live in, where we make these mistakes, and you get to see them on stream. That would have been a far better selection. Rats. All right, let's see what happens. Might take another quarterback because life is now devoid of meaning. But let's see. I wouldn't mind taking Stafford here because I don't know if I really just want to end with Nix and Ward at this point. And I'm going to just bet that it's I think I'm just going to make this a 2 tight end team. Drafts never get away from me. It's just bad room. Yes. You know what I can do? I can blame the badgeless guy. I can blame the badgeless guy for me not getting Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant's team is too much to me. I know he's cheap, but he shouldn't be drafted this often. And it's just the price. It's just the price now. But it would have been nice to have Sutton, Bryant, and Harvey. I think that probably would have been better, especially with every year there's talk of them like trading Sutton or something, and then like nothing happens. Just setting yourself up for Troy Franklin. Oh God. Yeah. Those were dark days. Just believing in that Franklin Nix college connection coming back to life. And it never did. It never did. But you know what? We soldier on. So pulling up the draft board, let's see what our friends are doing. Who Hames taking Alec Pierce and Hunter Henry. Crossface, he snapped off Pat Bryant and Roshan. I like both of those clicks. Ben taking Tua and Michael Wilson. JT taking Braylon Allen and Will Shipley. Steve-O adds Gesicki to the crew. And that makes sense. Again, Steve, okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I like Gesicki as one of the late round tight end options here. So let's see what comes around to us. Going to need one more tight end. Probably in the ideal world, Chig. If somebody takes Chig, it's really not the end of the world, but he's a guy I'd consider stacking now that we've got Cam Ward on the team. Again, maybe the 6th running back was a mistake, especially when we started with Bucky and Jacobs. It's tough to know. It's tough to know where we'd be had we not done that. Maybe I would feel a little better about the crew, but again, I think it's sort of more the lack of good QB stacks that has me as concerned as I am about the team. Chig is by week 10. Laporta is by week 8. So I can do this and not feel too horrible. So I'm just going to take Chig here and probably just make this a 3-6-7-2 team and see what Crossface does. Who Hames took Jarquez Hunter. I like that pick. If I needed a running back, he would have made a lot of sense with Stafford, considering, there's a little more talk of him having some pass catching chops, although it might be slightly overblown how good Hunter is in the pass game. But again, wouldn't mind adding him if I'm going to try to make a bet on the Rams. Tyler Lockett goes, which is unfortunate because he might have been my late round Ward guy. And then I'm going to type in Tutu Atwell and take him because I needed some excuse for taking Matt Stafford. So far, the team is Nix, Ward, and Stafford. Running back room of Bucky Irving, Jacobs, RJ Harvey, Sharbs, Ray Davis, and Tank Bigsby, with a wide receiver room of Justin Jefferson, Cortland Sutton, Steph Diggs, Emeka Egbuka, Hollywood Brown, and Tutu Atwell, with tight ends of Sam Laporta and Chig Okonkwo. I think the DraftKings line on the over-under of where this team places is 8.5. It's 8.5, folks. So I'm glad some of you are in this stream scooping my EV, because I just don't think this is the greatest team that I've ever assembled. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Let's see what happens. Got sniped on my QB2. Gonna be ugly. It's tough. Frankly, got a week 7 TD. He should be going in round 12. I mean, I don't know. I think they're out on Troy Franklin, man. I don't know. I'm not a Pat Bryant fan either, but Sean Payton is convinced Bryant is Michael Thomas. Sean Payton loves big wide receivers, and Bryant is nothing if not big. He should be getting opportunity. I did not expect Schultz to go before ADP. Well, Patrick Barnes YouTube is here, and he plays by his own rules, and he backstacks Geno Smith with Trey Tucker. Is he the? No, he's not even the. He's not even the Bowers guy. So he went very late with a third quarterback, but built that little late stack. Steve-O ends his team with Amari Cooper. My gosh, the chaperone. JT takes Jalen Hyatt. That isn't, my God. This draft, people, we are riding sharks, jumping sharks. Crazy stuff here. I'm like talking about picks being wild as I'm like gearing up to take Alec Iomenor, who might not make the team. But you know what? We'll take him. We'll take a shot on that pick. I don't love it. I think there's a reasonable chance that like Restrepo actually like legitimately beats him for the job, but we'll take him there. We'll sprinkle our week 17 people. So tough draft, but we got through it. And let's see. We've got 5 minutes before ADP chasing. So let's see if we can't look at our friends' teams. It was a fun draft. I mean, my team, I don't hate it, but it's definitely not my favorite one. So crossface goes Daniels and Dak at QB, Connor, Scatabo, Jordan Mason, Eckler, Roshan, and Jordan James at running back. So it switched over to my team. Hate when it does that. Okay. Wide receiver room of Lamb, McLaurin, Rashee Rice, Pearsall, Jack Betch, Pat Bryant, Jalen Coker, and Jalen Tolbert. In a wide receiver room of Kittle and Fergie. Not bad. Who Hames with a 3-5-7-3 team going Hurts, Fields, Jones at quarterback, Bijan, and then Jonathan Taylor, Judkins, Hunter, and Dobbins at running back. Wide receiver room of Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Jacobs, Jaden Higgins, Kyle Williams, Josh Palmer, and Alec Pierce. In the tight end room of Warren, Goddard, and Hunter Henry. Makes sense there. Who Hames? I like I like your quarterback. I like your quarterback stacks that you were able to build out. Ben, let's see what you did. You've got Kyler, Stroud, and Tua at QB. Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Javonte Williams, Marshawn Lloyd, and Ollie Gordon. Not afraid of the FUD on Gordon. Neighbors, Tyreek, MHJ, nice start at wide receiver there. And then Judy, Reed, Pittman, Knoll, and Michael Wilson, and Njoku and Jatavion at tight end, making a nice big bet on Njoku. I don't mind that. I like Njoku. And again, I think he's a guy that we're not quite pricing right as an ADP. JT with Goff, Dart, and Milrow. Man, that is a dicey back end of the QB room, but you got to think at least Dart is going to be starting by the end of the season. Chuba, Travion Henderson, Brian Robinson, and then Tyrone Tracy, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, and Will Shipley. So a pretty fragile running back room, but a lot of nice contingent upside darts late. Wide receiver room of Amon Ra, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, J-Mo Leggett, and Jalen Hyatt. And then Hawkinson and Andrews. I like your tight end room. I think those guys make sense. And then let's see what Steve did here. Steve with Baker, Herbert, and Bryce Young. Running back room of Gene T, Henry, Caleb, and Rashad White, and Justice Hill. Wide receiver room of Tet McMillan, Jarvis Hunter, Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin, Trey Harris, Adam Thielen, Darius Slayton, and Amari Cooper. and then Evan Ingram and Mike Gesicki at tight end. Steve, I like your team quite a bit. Amari Cooper, I don't know if you have any alpha there, but interesting stuff. All right, I am going to be signing off because ADP chasing is coming on. You never know, sometimes the worst. Yes, I think that is true. Had to take Ollie for the stream. He's not forgotten. Thank you. We will keep the light on. Didn't for the last few rounds feel like you wanted, but good draft. Hey, Steve, I like your team quite a bit. I think you landed the plane, needed something with Dart, and you might catch a deep ball. Jalen Hyatt could be our Alec Pierce, but probably not. This draft took Pete's scroll to F down thing too seriously. Well, you know what? We're trying new stuff. We are trying stuff. Fun draft. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Ben, for coming by. Slayton was already gone. Yeah, it's pretty thin past Slayton on the old Giants depth chart. Fun for sure. We'll try to get more in the morning. Yes, JT, you are always welcome in another draft with a guy named Pooh Hands 420. Well, you know what? It takes all kinds. Are you sure ship chasing is going live? I'm not sure. I actually just assumed because I thought they always went on at 10 a.m. on Thursday, but regardless, I've already lined everything up to get headed, and I probably should. But again, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. If there is a ship chasing, I will be in the chat chatting with everybody. If not, I will be around. So again, if you have not, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for drafting with me, and take care, everyone.